Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Before we get started, please like, subscribe, and comment on this video. Now I get a lot of comments about including RFK and the third-party candidates inside my presidential election predictions. So in this video, we're going to do a updated presidential map and kind of look at the environment with RFK, Donald Trump, and Joe Biden included. To begin with, first we're going to look at some polls with the third-party candidates included into the mix. Now, regularly, if it was just a two-way, Trump and Biden would be relatively even, with Trump holding a 0.4% lead. But if we include a lot of these third-party candidates, Trump will expand his lead by around 1%, a little over 1%, and go up to around a 1.7% lead. And it's a very common theme that, when you include these third-party candidates, that Trump actually gains in most or all of these polls, nationally and statewide. And we're going to go through this map and fill in these states. And most of them do not have polls with RFK in them and all of these other candidates such as West and Stein. But these main swing states that we will get to towards the end of the video are going to include a lot of polling, and our predictions are going to be based off of a lot of data that we do currently have. In 2020, there wasn't much third-party presidents, as Joe Biden and Donald Trump got most of the vote. And a lot of that third-party vote that was present in 2016 went to either Joe Biden and Donald Trump, but more went to Joe Biden than Donald Trump, which was able to put Joe Biden ahead of Trump in most of these swing states. Trump did do well in a lot of these states percentage-wise, but Biden just was able to get a lot more third-party voters to switch to his side and to vote for him. Now, let's get started on the safe states. Joe Biden and Donald Trump will have a fairly easy time winning any of these states. So for Biden, we have all of the West Coast, Hawaii. We're going to have Illinois, all these states up the East Coast. We're going to have New York, and then Maine's 1st Congressional District. And for Trump, he will have all of the Mountain West, Alaska, the Great Plains, Nebraska except the 2nd, and then, most of the Deep South. And we're going to add Iowa and Ohio, which would be over a 12-point win, as well as Maine's 2nd Congressional District. So now we're going to go to the likely states, and there aren't many that are going to be between 7 and 12. A lot of states this time around are going to be pretty competitive, and we'll put in the lean or tilt column. But for the likely states, Joe Biden is going to have 2 likely states between 7 and 12, Colorado and New Mexico. Similar to my election prediction with just Trump and Biden. Biden will have a fairly easy time winning both these states. And we can say the same thing about Trump in Texas and Florida for similar reasons. Florida was a very right-trending state, and I expect Trump, no matter what, to win this state by over 7 percentage points. And same thing for Texas, especially with RFK in the mix. I expect RFK to take more votes away from Joe Biden than Donald Trump. As we're going to see here in a lot of the Sun Belt region, Trump performs a lot better with third-party candidates involved. So now we're going to go a lot of the lean states. And to begin with Biden's lean states, we got Minnesota, we got Virginia, and then we got New Hampshire. Same thing as the last video, which you will check out. I will link that video on the top of your screen. And in Minnesota, first of all, I expect this to be a little bit closer because Biden's primary performance was not too good for an incumbent president, garnering around 70% of the vote, while the other 20 to 30 went to an uncommitted vote, as well as the other nominee who was running. The other candidate who was from Minnesota. And I expect Biden to do fairly similar as the two-way race in New Hampshire. He's performing pretty strong in New Hampshire, surprisingly, out of all of these states where he's performing worse. And now with Trump's lean states, this will be very, very heavy in the Sun Belt region. As I expect Trump to do a lot better with RFK on the ballot in the Sun Belt region. To continue with our lean states, Trump's going to first pick up the states of North Carolina and Georgia by between 2 and 7 percentage points. Georgia, Trump is up in the two-way race by 4.2%, but if we look at the five-way race, he is up by 6.3%, winning by a pretty significant amount in all of the polls taken so far. Even taking into account more liberal polls like Quinnipiac, he's still up by 3%. And similar thing could be said about Georgia, where he is up around 6% in the six-way race, up in every single poll similar to North Carolina. Both of these states will be going into the lean column. North Carolina was won narrowly by around over a percentage point by Trump. And then Georgia went narrowly for Biden, the first time since in this century for a Democrat to win Georgia, mainly because of Trump's very expansive gains among the suburbs and among the African American voters who had very, very high turnout in 2020. But it's not going to be the same in 2024. Biden is extremely unpopular in Georgia. And I expect Georgia to make a full swing back to the right and go to Donald Trump by a lean margin. Similarly, in the southwest of the United States, Trump, I think, will also pick off both Arizona and Nevada by lean margins instead of tilt margins on the two-way race. And this is because Trump actually maintains gains among his already large leads in these two states. Trump is up 4.5% on the two-way, but in the five-way, he is up 5.8%, gaining a lot and up a significant amount in every single poll taken between Trump, Biden, and the other third parties. And similar thing can be said in Nevada, which Trump also has a 3.2% lead, but leads by 5.5% when you bring in all the third parties. I think these two states will go for Trump either way, but with Kennedy on the ballot, I expect both of them to be lean states. And going back to Arizona, despite the abortion referendum is definitely going to hurt Republicans down ballot, but Trump positioned himself in a way where he does not agree with having that national ban of abortions, and he's actually not disapproved of on the abortion issue by that much. I do not think that the abortion argument, the abortion referendum will not affect Trump too much, although it definitely will affect Arizona Republicans on the Senate level with Carrie Lake. Moving over to perhaps the most important region of this election, the Midwest, and these three Rust Belt states, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. To begin with, in Wisconsin, I think Donald Trump will win this state by a tilt margin. In the polls, these are one of the two states in which Trump's lead goes from a larger lead to a smaller lead when you include these third-party candidates. However, he still does have a 0.2% lead. And Wisconsin, went to Biden by a narrow amount. And this is because of a lot of the turnout that Biden was able to get in Dane County and some of the shifts that were favorable towards him in the WOW counties. But this time around, the same cannot be said, especially since Biden is so unpopular nationwide and in a lot of these competitive states. Kennedy will take more votes away from both these candidates pretty evenly, I think, at the end of the day, but Trump will come out on top. Similar thing in with Michigan. And in Michigan, it's very surprising that this is the state that was the most left-leaning among the three Rust Belt states, going to Biden by over 2%. But it's the most favorable this time around in the polls, where Trump is consistently at an over 3% lead, and including the five-way. He actually goes a little down to 2.3%, but still keeping him in the lean column, but I'm going to put him in the tilt column on this map. And this is going to be a flip from my two-way race, but Pennsylvania will be tilting in Trump's column if the third-party candidates are on the ballot. And Biden does have a 0.5% lead two-way race, mainly because of this outlier. But if we take the same outlier and apply it to our five-way race, Biden is only up 2%. And among the state as a whole, Trump is up 2.6%. And, in 2020, Biden was able to win the state by a little over 1%, mainly due to a lot of his gains among the eastern part of the state where he was from. But this time around, similar to all other states, Trump will be able to make gains. And if these third-party candidates are on the ballot in Pennsylvania, I think Trump's going to flip it back. Moving to the three remaining electoral votes. To begin with, Biden's going to keep Nebraska's 2nd congressional district in the lean column. This is a very left-trending district, and I expect Biden to hold it. However, in Maine, I expect Biden's lead to actually shrink down to a tilt margin. And, Maine is a state where there's a lot of third-party vote. In 2016, Hillary Clinton almost lost the state, actually, and Biden was able to make up those gains from the third-party candidates and win by up to 9 percentage points. But like 2016, there is going to be a lot of third-party candidates. And we don't have too much polling, but we do have this poll that came out in February that found that Trump actually has a 6-point lead and that 30% of likely voters will back a other candidate, a third-party candidate. And although this is not going to hold, it's not going to end up being 30%, and I expect Biden to make up a lot of that ground, I still think Biden's going to win by less than 2 percentage points. And this will do it for the map. Trump at 312 electoral votes, Biden at 226, with Biden gaining Pennsylvania from the two-way race. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment on this video, and I'll check you guys out in the next one.